Salwete, we are going to be working on Aeneid lines 1 through 11, book 1. I've got my copy of Far here, a copy that I can write on. It's a Xerox, and I'm going to be translating, also talking a little bit about how Far works here, and bringing your attention to any cultural, historical points or grammatical points of interest. So let's take a look here. You notice that some of these words are italicized, some are in plain text. If a word is italicized, you find the definition for it on that fold-out sheet at the back of Far. If a word is in plain text, then you find the word on the same page. So kano is in plain text, and here it is, kano, conere. Notice the first part's missing, but you can figure it out. Conere, kekeni, cantus, and these are the forms that you would find in any dictionary, right? The present, first person singular, kano, I sing. Conere, to sing, the infinitive. Kekeni, I sang, perfect active. And cantus, having been sung or sung, that's the perfect passive. So if you say cantus sum, I was sung about, okay? And then he gives you the definitions. I'm going to also be making some notes and writing up on the text. I encourage you to do the same kind of thing. I have a little system that works for me. If you want to do it a little differently, that's fine. Go ahead and read this first chunk here. Arma virumque cano, Troiae qui primus ab oris, Italiam fato profugus, Lavinia quavenit litora. Mutilet teris iactatus et alto, vi superum saevae memorem unonis ob iram. So this first chunk, I'll go in little chunks as we go here. Arma virumque cano. So cano is your verb, and we're going to squiggly underline it because I like to do that with verbs. It makes it look like there's some action to it. And cano is ego cano, I sing, right? Just like the first form there is the first person singular. Ego cano. So I sing, and what are the things I sing? I sing arma. I like to put an underlined under an accusative or an object. Virumque, arms and a man. And you put this que right in between there. Remember, the que always goes there. So arma virumque cano. I sing of arms and a man. Arma is an accusative, even though it doesn't end in an M or an S. It's a neuter accusative, plural, so it ends in A. You might remember that, like litora, dona, templa, arma. And this word happens to always be pretty much in the plural. You don't see it in the singular. Arms, okay? It's kind of like English, too. And then virum, of course, is accusative. I sing of arms and a man. Now, who's the man? Well, we know the man is Aeneas. He's so well known that you just know who it is. It's Aeneas, and then arms are the wars that he fights in. That's what we're going to talk about. Remember that Vergil is trying to write an epic in the same sense of the Iliad and the Odyssey. And of course, the Iliad focused on arms and wars. It was all rotated around the Trojan War. And then Virum is kind of like the Odyssey. That was a story about a man, Odysseus, trying to get home. So here he alludes that his epic is going to be an Iliad and an Odyssey all in one because he's singing about both these things. The first 6 books will be about the man Aeneas getting to Italy, kind of like Odysseus had to get to Ithaca. The second 6 books will be about the wars that he has to fight in Italy. Troiae qui primus ab oris, Italiam. Okay. The man is Aeneas, and qui refers to that man. Okay, so you go back to virum here. Who, qui, who, and primus, you notice that's nominative and subject, so we double underline it. And primus is also nominative, we'll double underline it. Qui primus, who first. You got to go all the way here to your verb, actually. Qui primus ab oris Italiam fato profugus Lavinia quavenit litora. Who first came, that's the verb that goes with that, who first came, ab oris Troiae, from the shores of Troy. I like to put a little arrow back when I have a genitive, okay, if it refers to that. That's a genitive of Troy. Troiae would be Troy. Troiae of Troy. Troy's shores. And he came ad Italiam. Now there should be an ad there, but Vergil leaves it out because in poetry you can do that. You can leave out certain words sometimes, and prepositions are one of them. He came ad Italiam, to Italy, fato profugus. Now profugus is nominative, just like primus. Remember, us in the second declension is nominative singular. He's a refugee. Fato, this is ablative that tells you why he's a refugee. He's a refugee by fate, or because of fate. Okay, so qui primus ab oris Troiae Italiam fato profugus. He's a refugee by fate. Laviniaque venit litora. And, that and is like it goes there, and he came, he came, you got to do ad again, ad Lavinia litora. Now why do you have to do ad again? Well, because this is an accusative. Remember I said it's a neuter plural, like that's a neuter plural and that's a neuter plural, and that can be the nominative or the accusative form. He came to the shores. Litus is singular, litora is plural, and it's neuter, so that is an accusative plural. So we make that underline once for accusative. He came to the Lavinia que venit litora, and these two words go together. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll connect them underneath like that, and you just got to know that goes with that. It's on a different line, but that's how it is. And he came ad Italiam, that's also accusative, you know. And these are accusative because they go with ad. Direction toward a place always goes with ad. Or if you put an in, then it's like into Italy. Ad would be to Italy. Okay? So I sing of arms and a man who first came from the shores of Troy to Italy, a refugee by fate, and he came to the Lavinian shores. And the Lavinian shores just mean the Italian shores. Lavinia is an area in Italy, and that's what that means. Muti letteris iactatus et alto, vi superum saevae memorem unonis ob iram. Okay. Mutile. Now, this elides is what it's called. Remember, Vergil's writing in what's called dactylic hexameter, and every line of his is perfect dactylic hexameter, for the most part, except the ones that aren't finished. So here, this M is considered weak, and so if there's a vowel before an M, and then you have another vowel in a word after it, then that whole syllable kind of drops out. Okay, it doesn't drop out in meaning, but it drops out in actually saying it. And then any word that ends in a vowel before another word that begins in a vowel, that vowel is always going to drop out. That's just the rules of elision. Okay? So what we say here is mutiletteris, basically. Mutiletteris, just to kind of make it all work. Okay? We'll talk more about that later. He is the subject. He, okay, meaning Aeneas. Ille, from illa, illud. It's the pronoun, and it can mean he here. Okay, it's masculine, singular, nominative. He, iactatus. Okay, this goes together with this. Okay, he iactatus est. He was. Iactat comes from iacto, iactare. Notice far has a J, but I put in I's. They're the same thing though. He was tossed. And notice iacto has a 1 in front of it, meaning its first conjugation. So that means it's iacto, iactare, iactavi, iactatus. Okay? That's what the 1 means. First conjugation, long A. So he was tossed. Multum, much. Okay, much. It's used like an adverb here. So you can put a little adverb there if you want to. He was tossed much. Et. Two ets mean both in teris. You have to put an in here because it's ablative, so we just assume it's in on the lands. It's in teris on the lands. Et alto. Et in alto. You got an in here too. So he was tossed much on both the lands and on the deep. Okay, that takes us to there. I'm going to pick up the rest in the next one, part 2.